Hello, today on the Bye Wanxiety podcast, we have my first return guest,
Woo!
Jess, our famous potty trainer who runs Practically Perfect Potty Training. I'm so excited to have you back because, like, when we first spoke, your business hadn't been started too long. Hey, just leave that in. Sorry. Well, she's cheering for you right now.
She's dreaming of potty training.
But yeah, when we first chatted, I think how long had you started your business before? Like early, less than a year, I think, right?
2 years, under 2 years,
Under 2 years.
just under 2 years, and then so now it'll be 3 years this August since I launched, but it's been like exponential growth every year. So it's kind of like very exciting because it went from taking 4 months to get my first client to getting calls multiple times a week now, and being booked out for months. And yeah, it's been pretty crazy, pretty exciting. I guess like one of the biggest like progressions in the last, I guess it's been about 10 months since we did the first podcast together. I have started getting so much word of mouth. When I initially started the business, I remember people telling me with this type of a business, at some point, like, you're not even gonna have to advertise. Word of mouth is going to be like the way people find out about you. And I was like, yeah, no way. Right. And I actually didn't have to advertise for 6 months. I started advertising again recently, but even now 50% of my clients are still word of mouth and 50% are advertising in the last few weeks since I restarted advertising. But like, it's been very exciting to just have all this hard work I've done over the last 2.5 years, like culminate and actually having this like reputation in the community, particularly the special needs community. And I'm getting calls of people saying, oh, I heard about you in the support group. And everybody says you have this like impeccable reputation with special needs children. Or even I've been shocked that like, they'll say, oh, a friend of a friend like told us about you, or our friends told us about you. And it's people who I wasn't even considering like my biggest successes. And they're like still talking about me and spreading the word about me. So for me, that's like, it just speaks volumes to me about like what I'm doing with people and the impact I'm leaving on them. And even a few days ago, I was conversing with like one of my closest families who are already talking about their daughter is not even a year old yet. And she's like, when you potty train her, like they're just going to hire me no matter what. And they love me. And I was talking to her, about, things getting so much word of mouth and everything now. And she's like, I'm not surprised. You've got such a talent and a magic within you. And I was like, and then she said something to me that just like resonated so deeply with me. And she was like, and even when it isn't 100% success, you cannot let that bring you down. And she's like, because just your presence there impacts families enough that like they start the ball rolling. And sometimes that's like all you can really do. She's like, you're in such a high pressure situation. And she's like, but I just don't want you to ever like doubt your magic when you have like rough times. And I was like, thank you. Like that means a lot to me to hear something like that from a client. And yeah, and then like another big thing that I found out is like the Office of People with Disabilities in New York is now referring clients to me. And people get budgets for their children, and now I'm getting reimbursed by like by disability programs for my services. And it's like pretty incredible to have like this, such a big government office aware of me and sending their clients to me because they're hearing how great I am at what I do. So
that's amazing. Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. I can't believe like your business has grown so like literally it's been 10 months and now I see that you're busy like every week.
Yeah, you're like
just crazy. Flying somewhere. I didn't know about like the Office of Disabilities, but that's amazing that they support families. I mean, I can't even imagine how hard it must be. Potty train,
and it's so potty training is so challenging for so many. I mean, there's obviously stories of kids doing it themselves and things like that, but that's not the norm. Okay. Yeah. And so it's so challenging anyways. And then when you add in, neurodivergence, disabilities type of things, it makes it so much more difficult. And so, for me to be able to be this support system and this guide for families who are just, trying to get through this milestone. And, I've cried with moms. I've had moms cry in my arms. I've cried with them over like the struggle of like every milestone being that much more difficult than the average child. And, to be able to be a part of this process for them and to create, quote unquote, the magic with them and help them to like realize this for their children, because we do it's for everybody. I mean, it really affects the whole family, but like the big thing I always talk about is like, I want these kids to feel this autonomy, and I want them to feel this pride and excitement in this process, because when they take that on, they realize what it is. They gain this independence and confidence. That's just like incredible to watch. It's just, it's emotional for me, and it's emotional for the families. And even, I just recently had a very, very difficult case with a child who was years of resistance with her parents, just refusing. And, I was with her for 5 days, and she was defiant, like was refusing and defiant. And I was like, man, and I was feeling so defeated and deflated. And then, I finished my 5 days. We got a little bit of progress in the last couple of days, but it was nothing. It was not trained, but I was like, stick with it, guys. We got to stick with it. We got to stick to the plan that we talked about, because she has to know, like, we're not going back now. And 3 days later, the breakthrough happened for them. And awesome. She is now taking herself to the potty every time and telling them, or just taking herself. And like, they FaceTimed me a few days ago so she could like tell me, and she was like beaming with pride. And this was a kid who had been like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And so it's like, those moments are just like what keep me going. And so even in my hard weeks, I like remember that happens too. And, it's hard to explain to parents sometimes that like, this is not a linear process for many kids, and there's no set timeline. And it can be that the time I spend with them is just teaching them something that's going to take longer than the average child. And that can be neurotypical or neurodivergent kids. I work with, I work with both. Obviously, most of my clients are people who are struggling for whatever reason, whether it's because of neurodivergence or because their kid just has some inexplicable anxiety or resistance. It's I get called in because they're pretty much desperate, and they're like, we need somebody here, we need this new set of eyes. And like, I find a way, and it's pretty incredible, like doing something that's so symbiotic, and it's such a village mentality, and we go in there and we like sync up together. And I'm super into like mindset and positivity and creating and manifesting, for lack of a better woo-woo word, these things. And so even like the night before my sessions, I tell my parents, I want you to take like 10 minutes before you go to bed tonight, and I want you to close your eyes and take some deep breaths and envision your child potty trained, and envision your child having this skill set that they need for their life, and how much better it's going to be for all of you when it happens. And that's what we create in that week together, So, and it's, I've started doing longer sessions. I've had families hiring me for longer sessions. I've now had families hire me for after my potty training session to do behavioral consulting and set up full systems for their households of how to help their children help ground themselves, how to help their children understand boundaries and things like that. Because for me, it's like so important that we give them the space to be who they are as little human beings, but also to understand the need for things like boundaries, to understand the need for self-regulation, to understand that, we've got to function in life and in this world. And there's ways to do that on your own, but we're also going to help you through it, and like learn how to, feel these feelings and understand that these are part of being a human, and, not let them overtake them, but also learn how to live with them and learn how to like understand them better. And it's, for me, it's changed me, honestly. I tell people all the time, like, every experience is so transformative for my families, but it's so transformative for me as a human being every single time. And I learn something new every single time.
Yeah, of course. And it's so rewarding, right? Like, you're just having, for the parents and the kids, having that support there must be like,
yeah, and it's, it's something to be said for it work, in a business. Like, obviously mine is so unique, and it is such an intimate thing that is in people's homes. And it's, and so I clearly do have to have some sort of special ability to walk into people's homes and be comfortable and make them feel comfortable immediately. Because if they all don't feel safe and comfortable with me, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And so, I was, a few weeks ago, I had a client, and she went to drop me off at the train station at the end of the day, and she's looked at me and she said, we're so thankful we called you. Your energy from the moment you walked in our home, everybody felt calmer. And she goes, you have something in you that makes everybody feel safe and
You
calm.
do.
And I'm like, again, it like makes me so emotional. And so thankful that I can like impact people in that way. But like, that's like what I want to do, because I know that's what gets me the results I want to see. So, it's so special. And I think I look at it now and it's like, I do, I know people can say, well, yours is a really unique, special, type of work that you do. And it's very specific to this type of, work, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's not an average employer-employee situation or anything like that. But I do believe that like that human touch, that human empathy, those things could be beneficial to businesses in general. When you create these types of relationships with people, when you are able to get a sync up with people, that's where you're getting word of mouth. That's where I'm getting talked about in support groups around New York City at this point in time. That's where I'm getting calls from people who are like, a friend of a friend used you and then told our friends about you, and then our friends told us about you. I mean, it's like, you don't get that if you don't create a relationship. And so I think that like in so much of like, not to go into too much, but like in capitalism and in the way we work these days, a lot of times we lose sight of humanity in it. And like, I get to do a job that has such an emphasis on humanity. And literally, like, I tell clients when I do my consult calls, like, part of why I'm so passionate about what I do is because I truly believe like the backbone, the foundation of a solid society is good family relationships. And so if I can help in that, to me, I'm like, I'm doing something good for the whole of society. I'm helping create these foundations for families that allows for their children to bloom and grow in a way that's going to create healthier young adults and into adults and everything like that. And it just, it's like a chain effect. And so I feel like I try so much to inspire people by what I'm doing, because I'm linking back all to humanity at this point, and I think right now when it feels like things are a little chaotic and we're all kind of like, how are we surviving and how are we doing all this? If we remember like the need and depth of human connection and what that can do, even in things like work and business and employment and career and everything else, like if you can find that, if you can reconnect with that, it's going to propel you forward, because that's at the root of everything ultimately.
I mean, I really feel that, like, especially like I just feel like everybody I meet lately, like anxiety is so heightened right now with everything that's going on, and everything is becoming more expensive, and like, how are people supposed to live? But about like the humanity, you are definitely like one of the most patient, compassionate, understanding people I've ever met in my life. So
I will say, like, I did not know I was this patient. Like, I'm like, wow, I'm really patient. Like,
you are
I have
patient.
to stay so calm and zen, even when things are just like going to shit, no pun intended. I mean, I have to be like, I'm the calm one here, guys. It's all gonna be okay. I promise. We're just stay calm, even though inside I'm going, oh my God, like it's not working. And like, what's the thing that's gonna make it work? And I get so stressed about it, but I can't let them know that. And
of course,
because like my whole job, so much of my job, and I try to like kind of remind clients of that. It's like, ultimately, I'm a consultant. What consultants get paid for primarily is advice. Yes, I go in for a certain number of days and we hope that we get to a certain goalpost by those days. But a lot of what I provide is advice, but is this energy and this aura that's like, okay, this is how we do this, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how I'm going to guide you. And if you listen to me, it's going to probably work. Now, I cannot make a guarantee. We have little human beings, so you can't guarantee anything like that. But I will say that so often it's like, when they don't actually follow my advice, then it doesn't work. And I'm like, okay, guys, come on. Like, you're paying me for my advice. So like, just follow it, do these directions. I know it's not easy to do. And I'm like, but clearly whatever's been going on since before I came here is not working. So like, we got to pivot and we got to try these things. And sometimes it doesn't work. And I'm like, we got to try something different, or we're going to try this instead. But finding clients who like entrust me with that and are like, okay, we're going to do this. We trust what you're saying. It really helps immensely. And for the most part, I mean, 95% of my clients have been just incredible, and they have trusted me so deeply, and they've believed so much in me. And, that is why I have such a high success rate, is because they really like listen and they trust and they know. I mean, I remember I had one client that was very difficult case, and they still keep in touch with me. I actually visited them. They're out in Long Island. I was doing another client out there a few weeks ago, and I went and saw them after work one day because she was like, "We really want to see you." And the little girl was like, "Miss Jessica, you're back. I'm already potty trained." And I was like, I know, you're still potty trained. It's okay. But the day that I was saying goodbye to them and doing the graduation ceremony with the daughter, I was with them 8 days, and the dad said, I was struggling with the faith, and it was really, really hard. But my wife kept telling me, trust her. I believe in her. Just trust her, please. Like, we got to follow what she's saying and believe in her. And he was like, and I'm really glad I did, because it worked. And then I had another mom recently text me and was like, remember? She was like, Jess, I just had to message you. It's been months since you were with us. I had to tell you he has not had an accident since he left.
That's amazing.
And I had figured out some GI tract issues with him and helped them get him worked through that, and recommended them to a GI. And then the GI was like, oh, she did exactly what she needed to do. She knew what she was doing. And that opened up a whole new thing for me of hey, I'm actually I've learned from this process. I understand human bodies more than I ever have now, because I've done so much studying on my off time trying to understand the working parts of what I'm doing. And because I can't just rely on my own knowledge and whatever, but I have now figured out that I actually can help families, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to give you full on medical advice, but I will tell you to talk to a doctor and tell them that this is what I have experienced in my time doing this. This is what I suspect is going on. What are their feelings on it? And so often now the doctors are like, yeah, no, she's right. And so it feels really good to be able to help families where their children are struggling with medical situations and things like that, where that is actually hindering the process. I'm able now to help families identify things so that they can go to doctors and actually get the help that they need with some knowledge behind it. That's hey, I may be wrong, but this is what I suspect is happening. So that's been a really kind of amazing process for me as well.
Yeah, you're learning from it.
I'm learning. Right? I've learned, I continue to learn, but then so much of it also is just instinct. I try to tell people that too. They're like, so what's your method? And I'm like, I don't even have one anymore. It's completely individualized to every child. Yeah. And I really have to, and people have asked me about, how do you do this? And could I do this myself? And I was like, I don't know, because I don't even know how I could train somebody, because what I do is instinctual. It is getting to know each child and taking my tool belt that I have and applying it to them, but also understanding that individual child and what might be the thing that turns on what I call the potty switch for them, that resonates with them enough that we can get that breakthrough to happen for them.
That's amazing. I can't believe still how much your business has grown. So going back to that, now that you're so busy, how do you manage work-life balance? Because you get very little time off, right? Because obviously a lot of the times your jobs are 3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah,
and now you have to travel.
Yeah, I mean, I did 7 days straight when I went out of state in February, and they had me stay for 7 straight days with them. Yeah, no, it's very intensive. I'm learning how to do that. I'm learning to take breaks when I need them. I'm learning to book only for 3 to 5 weeks straight, and then I need a few days off, because it's just such a highly intensive job. It's so emotional, it's so mental, and it's so physical. It's all of these things. And so it's I don't want to burn out, and I want to be 100% for every one of my clients. So being my own business owner has been it's been such a nice thing, because it allows me to give my time that space to recharge when I need to. And when I started a business, such a big part of that was I wanted to be able to leave for a chunk of winter, because I hate New York winter. Yeah. It's the worst. Sure. So I was like, I don't want to be here for winter. So I'm going to find a way to be able to work enough during the rest of the year that I can go and visit my partner in Australia and enjoy some summertime in the middle of winter, and then come back super rejuvenated. So I've started doing that. which has been amazing. It's like, oh, I can do this. This is pretty cool. You know, could I stay here and keep working? Absolutely. Do I have the choice to do it another way? Absolutely. Am I breaking molds of what it means to work and what it means to have a business and what it means to be successful?
100%.
Absolutely. Because I should ultimately, by capitalistic standards, be working year round. But I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I want the ability to do things on my own terms so that I know that when I am working, I am at my top of my game. And I get that option, and it's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
What have been like some hurdles so far as a business? Like, what has been the biggest challenges, I guess, as a business owner, and how did you overcome them?
One of the biggest challenges, and I still struggle a lot with, is trusting the process. That the peaks and valleys of business ownership, the times when it's, you know, feast or famine, and there's points when it's like go go go, and I'm like making money and I'm doing so well and I'm having, you know, multiple like massive successes in a row, and it's like I get this high, and then all of a sudden I have some time where I don't have as many calls, or where I don't have clients lined up for a couple of weeks, and then I sort of go into this anxiety and, oh my God, what if this means the end, and whatever. So I'm having to learn to not allow that spiral to happen for myself, and to trust the process, and to know it keeps working out. So every time I start to panic a little bit, I swear I like kind of like will meditate, and I'll do some affirmations just to like ground myself again and be like, just relax. It's all going to be okay, because it always is. And then without fail, within a day or two, I get another client reaching out to me, and I'm like, okay, it's fine. And
it's just the universe telling you need to relax.
Yeah, I mean, and I've been getting that message for the last 3 years from the universe of like surrender and just like stop trying to control everything, because there's only control is kind of an illusion in general, and there's only really so much we can control, and that's exactly what's happening in the here and now. And so if I'm like overthinking what's going on in the future, I'm just not going to be able to like actually enjoy the fruits of the now. And so I'm trying to learn to enjoy that, and also to like let myself enjoy the fruits of my labor by going out and doing fun things, and enjoying New York City, and being like, hey, I can go see this show I want to go see with my friends, and I don't have to feel guilty about it because I worked my butt off this month, you know? And so it's been a lot of lesson for me in relinquishing like control, and keeping like tabs on myself and my own anxieties and my own like fluctuation of how I feel throughout the process. And I think that's a pretty common thing, especially with business ownership, because you always have like fluctuations in it. So learning to be like, hey, it doesn't mean it's the end if you have like a slow period. You know, it doesn't mean it's going to be like this every single month if you have a super crazy, amazing month. You know, you have to learn to let the ebbs and flows happen, and take it and put your all into, you know, making a high come back, but also being like, hey, if it doesn't happen immediately when I want it to, there's probably a reason for that, and it's okay, right? So just trusting process.
I try to tell my mom that, because, you know, my mom works away, and she has sometimes weeks that she doesn't have a job, and she does the same thing, like, oh my God, like, but I'm just like, maybe you're just meant to relax these next 2 weeks. How about enjoy your time?
And that's what I'm trying to do, because I'm like, a lot of people can't work 3 or 4 weeks on and have 1 or 2 weeks off and still be making enough money to survive, and not just survive, thrive. So I'm like, okay, also I need to learn to like look at that privilege and be like, that's pretty amazing that I found a niche that allows me to do well enough that I don't have to work 52 weeks out of the year. I don't have to work 50 weeks out of the year. I can actually like have time off, and it doesn't like destroy me financially. That's a privilege. And I need to like learn to rest in that privilege, not take advantage of it, but be aware of it, and know that like, you're doing okay, girl. Like, you know, would I love to be making money every single week? Absolutely. Do I think I would actually probably burn out a lot faster if I did do that? 100%.
100%.
So, you know, and again, that's where I also am like learning to take the breathers I need, because then I'm like, I'm going to be better for my next round of clients. And it really does seem to just come in waves. I'll do like 3 to 5 in a row, and then I'll have 1 to 2 weeks off. And then it's like, okay. And then next thing I know, it's blue. And summer is my busiest season. So every year, since my first summer doing this, it's been like booked solidly straight through from July until the end of September. So I'm like gearing myself up for that as well, and realizing like that's probably going to be the case this year.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
You got this. I believe in you.
I'm excited. So yeah.
I was actually thinking about this the other day, because like you were just mentioning, like you're learning to enjoy, like, you know, going out. I think I've been in New York over 10 years and there's still so many tourist things I haven't done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but literally, like, now I'm learning to, like, you know, I get up on a Saturday and I go to Union Square Farmers Market, because, you know, that's like my new way of like decompressing and relaxing after like, working all week.
Yeah.
So.
It's like, I even like a couple weeks ago, I went to MoMA for the first time in years on a Thursday, because I had a Thursday off, and my roommate's friend was visiting from Italy. She's an artist and she wanted to go. And I was like, I haven't been in years. I'll go with you. And so we all went together. And it was so fun to just go on a Thursday. It was beautiful weather. It was just like this wonderful day. And I was like, I live in New York City, damn it. Like I need to like enjoy these things and be like, you know.
I went for the first time, you know, last year.
Yeah, it's such a good museum.
Amazing.
It's like such an amazing, it's, you know, and I've traveled all over the world so much, and I like love culture and museums and things like that. But I always forget that we have so many amazing things right here in our backyard, you know? Yeah, so
we really do. And a lot of them are free. Like there's so many things that you can do for free in New York. It's insane.
It's crazy. And like now that it's finally nice weather too, it helps.
I did see like, this Instagram I follow, NYC for free. They have like a lot of really good stuff that they post. And then Liz's wellness letter too. She posts about a lot of really good things coming up. I don't know if you saw the
I need to check.
NYC living well and wellness NYC.
Wellness NYC.
I will tag her. But yeah, so I guess there's one final question. What's next for Practically Perfect Potty Training?
So that's slightly TBD. Continuing to grow. There is a pretty big likelihood I'm going to be moving out of the country next year.
Oh my God.
And if I do that, then I will be going international. And I plan on starting it when I move overseas in the next place I go.
I'm so excited for that. So-
oh no, it's like a sign from the universe.
It's a sign. It's a sign.
Bye Wanxiety.
That would be really good. Bye Wanxiety.
I hope so. I'm like, no anxiety for my next, you know, international thing. And my goal ultimately would be to come back here for the oh my God. It was like, yeah.
That's a blooper for real.
It's hilarious. I mean, you have to keep it in.
I'm keeping it in.
But yeah, but I really actually want to like come back here for 2 to 3 months a year in the summertime, if I move, and keep doing some work here for my busy season, so that I can still help New York families in particular and continue this process here. And the client I was texting with, I mentioned earlier, she was like, when their daughter needs to be trained, she's like,
I cannot with this sign.
I can't. I'm like, just hold it up.
This is all your anxiety leaving you.
It's gone.
Okay,
Bye.
It's fine.
So so she said, you know, girl, we're gonna probably have to just fly you up for it. And I was like, okay, if you guys want to fly me up for me to potty train your daughter, I will. That's fine with me. So
I mean, the great thing is you can do this anywhere, right? Because everywhere there's families and kids that need help.
Yeah, especially places that have like special needs services and stuff like that. Like I, you know, already where I'm planning to move, I've like been speaking to people and they're like, oh, you need to like connect with the disability services here.
I give up. I give up.
Just the whole thing. My anxiety is officially gone.
I give up on the sign. There's never falling down.
I don't know. It's my powers. I'm like,
the universe today is like,
it's like talking to us.
It's a good sign. It's a good sign.
I hope it's a good sign. I'm like, don't be a bad sign.
Beauty of having a studio here.
So,
but that's awesome. Yeah. I am so happy for you and just so excited for everything that's happening, because obviously like I've known you for a long time. And starting this business and the website, but Yeah,
I know. Well, some of it's due to this one too. My website designer. I still get compliments on the website.
I'm
So,
glad.
yeah, it was very like
Um,
actually my client last week works in tech, and she said I was telling her about you and how you did my website, and she's like, that's so amazing, I love that. And then she was like, you guys did such a great job. And then she's like, you know what, like the way you write on your website too, she's like, you sell yourself really well. I was like, good.
You do, of course.
She was like, I can tell you got a writing degree. I'm like, yeah, that useless writing degree. At least it made me write a good bio for my website for my potty training
you don't need
business.
ChatGPT. Everybody's using ChatGPT.
True. I don't have to do that. I just do my own, and so that's nice. But yes, thank you for your contributions, because you've been one of my biggest supporters from the jump. And
because I think it's amazing what you're doing. Like, I don't know if I could potty train a child. Like, I don't even know if I can potty train my own when I have them. Not gonna lie, see. Well, with that, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me back. I love being
here. Jess, Miss Jessica, I will tag her.
Yeah.
And hire her for your babies.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would love to help you if you guys need help. Have a good night.
Bye.